recording the session, but I will also mention that we are recording the session, but give me 1 second. Just to introduce today's meeting. Okay, so welcome to this new meeting of the Biophilic Society. So as usual, if possible, please rename yourself in the participants list, first and last name and country, just to know who you are. But we know many of you, but just to know who you are, from where you are, where are you talking, basically. Again, the session will be recorded, so it will be available also for the registrants that weren't able to make it today afterwards. Please keep your microphone muted, and if you have any questions, so you can put directly your questions in the questions, basically in the chat box, to make it very simple. And we have as usual one presentation today, but you can put your questions in the chat, and then we can collect the questions and in the end. And the question of the day is very simple. So what's your favorite animal in nature? So clearly they are in nature. So if possibly, like, not your dog or your cat, because otherwise we will let's say fill the chat with all of our pets. But you know, your favorite animal in nature, name one in the chat. And with this, as usual, we have one person presenting the work that she's doing from the biophilic design and more in general perspective. So, and today and then we will have the final remarks and information and updates on what we are doing with the Biophilic Society. And the pleasure today is to welcome Paola Di Legge. She's now, so after 14 years in corporate environment, she's now working on biophilic design, and basically as a biophilic artist or biophilic. So is probably this is, I don't know if this is correct term, but Paola, you will let us know. And you founded Ninfa Studio in 2019, so not many years ago, to create basically happier and healthier spaces. And more specifically, you are working on creating these moss walls, so something that we are now seeing more and more in many places. So I'm personally also a bit curious about this type of work, how they are made basically, and you are creating really nice works and results. It looks like really this is something that is growing and developing, but please let us know more about your work, about the natural elements that you are using, and basically a bit of your story regarding this work that you are doing. And then we will move further after a talk with other information. So Paola, the stage is yours, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for the introduction, Carlo, and thanks for the opportunity. I'm very excited to be presenting today. So I will talk a little bit about my story and my work. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see it? Maybe I should minimize this. Are you seeing it okay?
Yeah, yes, we see it. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. So just to start a little bit about myself, I am an Italian national. I've been living in Dublin, Ireland for 20 years. I stopped counting, but now that I reached the 20 years mark, I'm starting counting again. And in terms of background, my studies and work couldn't be farthest from where I am now, because I studied English and Spanish literatures in Italy. I then lived a little bit in Spain, and then I moved to Dublin. for work, where I spent 13 plus years in the corporate world. And I've been working with law enforcement all over Europe and the US on cybercrime investigations at the beginning, and then in agile project management, software development. So all this jazz that is very, very far from where I am now. So what happened? I took a career break to be with my children. I have two boys of 8 and 10 years. And during this career break, I really wanted to find my calling. So I did in a postgrad course on innovation and entrepreneurship. And while I was doing this course, I also attended a floral design course that was very creative, and I did a lot of research on floral installation. And while I was doing this research, I found preserved flowers and preserved nature, and I decided to order it for me because I happened to move the house as well, so I had a new house. And as soon as I received this material, I really fell in love because it was amazing. It was so vibrant, and the texture, it looked like alive, but it was not alive. So I started to do some moss art for my house. And with the time, everybody that came was like, wow, they were very excited, that to see something so different and unique. And they encouraged me to share this. And myself, I also felt very fascinated, and I started to study a little bit about biophilic design. And as soon as I started reading more and more about, how nature, really, the impact of, biophilic design has on people, on their well-being, on their mental health, I realized that, the impact that it had on me, because in the last 2 years, while I was working in an office, I've been working in, secondary office because they were doing some building work. And I was very far from the window. Here in Ireland in winter, the sun gets up very late in the morning, like around 9. So I was basically going to the office. It was dark. I was getting out. It was dark. I didn't have any sunlight during the day. And so I really felt, and I reconnected the fact that my, unbalanced, my mental health, unbalance was due to this disconnection really from nature. And so when I found myself surrounded by, this moss art, and also with more time to get, in nature itself outside, I really, I was really fascinated by, by the biophilic principles and the biophilic design principles. So I decided to give it a try and see if people liked it as well, because I really wanted to share this passion that I found. So I built my own website and I started my journey this way. So I also found a very small studio in a beautiful park in Dublin. There was an ancient building with a collective of artists of different types. So I rented a small studio that became my, like a showroom, which was really, really helpful for me to get feedback from people. And the feedback has been really amazing. And that's what kept me going in this journey, really. Unfortunately, the studio was very small and I couldn't really work in it because I work with huge boxes of moss of different types. So I had to work from home and then, go to the studio as well. So I decided to close the studio actually this year in January because I got so many commissions that I couldn't really go to the studio and work from home. So I'm currently only online while I find a bigger studio for both working and showroom. So in terms of, like to present a little bit the work, I guess the first thing I wanted to highlight is a bit the differentiation between moss wall and moss art. So I think we all saw somewhere, airports, shopping centers, but even, in residential or, offices as well, moss walls. And they are beautiful, and, they use the same materials as moss art because it's preserved and it stays green and it doesn't need any maintenance. The main difference is really that, a moss wall, like a standard moss wall, can be made and installed by a garden center, while moss art, entails a little bit more creativity, spark imagination from the moss artist itself. So you will see a little bit more of my work, and, you can see the difference between the moss wall and moss art. So I wanted to just highlight this because it's something that, everybody's familiar with at this point because it's getting more and more popular. So why biophilic art? So this is just to highlight what it does to us, right? So the aim of biophilic art is to awaken the senses, become present in and with nature. Every time we engage with it, we naturally pause and feel present and feel reconnected to nature. And now that I closed the studio and I have all this moss art in my house, I can really see, like, even if you are in the middle of your day with the busyness and craziness of, a day-to-day work, when you pass by, a moss frame, even if it's just for a second, you just breathe and stop and pause, and it really has an effect on you. So I'm happy to share this with others, because I know from feedback about, from my customers, that this is the effect that it has on everybody. It really makes you feel more centered and reconnected to nature. The inspiration, so I put here a little bit more work that I've done in the years. Of course, the inspiration is nature itself. So like, organic shapes, fractals, topography, natural phenomena. So usually when I have to start a new work that is not a commission, so it comes from me, I usually start with an idea, and then I develop the idea as I go along based on, the materials that I use, the colors, and, the creative flow that comes with it. But nature, it's always the main focal point of the work. The materials. So all the materials are 100% natural. So they have been sustainably harvested and preserved by professional suppliers based in Europe. So some moss artists as well preserve the materials by themselves, but I've seen, with my experience, with my experimenting, that it's really important the quality of the materials that are really professionally preserved. Otherwise, they don't really last. And even the materials from certain suppliers are different in terms of quality. So I now have a supplier for certain types of mosses, a supplier for ferns, and because it's not enough just to apply the principle of the preservation. It really needs to be done properly for these materials to last. So in terms of what's the preservation process, it's a process that replaces the sap of the plant with the liquid that makes them retain their flexibility and their vibrancy. And sometimes, for example, for reindeer moss, They apply as well food coloring. So again, still very natural, but to give different shades of colors as well. Also, in particular, reindeer moss, it's an amazing material because it retains features even if it's preserved. So it's a sound absorption, hair cleaning, it's fire retardant, it doesn't attract insects or dust. So it really is, a very durable, long-lasting material. How long does it last is the question I get asked the most, number one question. And there isn't an easy answer because it really depends on the type of material, the color, the quality. So some colors discolor more easily. It depends as well how, where they are kept. So to optimize the durability of a moss frame, it needs to be kept indoors, out of direct sunlight because it can discolor it, and in an environment that is not very humid. So humidity is not really good at all. And, away from direct sources of heat or air conditioning. So it's pretty, once you identify the right spot, then that's it. You don't need to do anything else. It just stay like that the last years. And I actually, experimented it myself before feeling comfortable in selling it. I really wanted to see if that, was really true. And it does. I still have frames that I made at the very beginning, and they are still like day one. So in general, if we want to give like an answer, like a moss frame, like the one in this picture with different types of mosses, lasts at least 5 years, while a moss frame with all reindeer moss lasts over 10 years, even more, because the reindeer moss is really, really, durable. The creation process. When, preserved moss and plants, they come in their natural state. So they require substantial preparation before they can be used in moss art. So they come with roots, with soil attached, with pine needles. So they need to be cleaned, cutted, glued in different with different techniques based on the type of material as well, and then cut it in based on how they are supposed to look and where they are going, basically. So it's a process. It takes time, and it takes experimenting really to see how something looks like in the end. I'll show you later a little bit of different types of frames that I made with different materials, just to see how they look. This is just to show, the endless possibilities with this type of materials. They are amazing. They're very vibrant, and it's not just moss art. You can make interior decor as well. These were very popular items for gifts, as well as interior decor. And then I wanted to talk about a little bit about the sensory experience, because differently from the standard type of art, the classical visual art, moss art also has a unique sensory experience, because you can touch it. You can feel the texture of the different materials. You can smell it. Some of the moss frames with the mushrooms, with some types of plants still smell, a little bit like the plant, which is really, it creates a nice sensory experience that is quite unique, and allows you to reconnect with nature even more. So related to this, for example, in 2020, I sold sensory wall to a nursing home. So it was basically a series of frames, and each frame with a different material and texture. And it was amazing because, it was during lockdown. People couldn't really go out in the nursing home even more because there were patients, couldn't go out. So the feedback from them has been amazing because these people could really feel and touch nature indoors. And it really had a very positive effect on their health and mental health as well, and well-being. So it was really, really nice to see the effect of moss art in the, in the healthcare sector as well. From the corporate side as well, I had a very nice feedback. First, in terms of, choosing moss art as opposed to, another type of art. So the person who commissioned said that, they decided to have moss art because they weren't sure what to put, that didn't offend anyone. And they actually redid this office during lockdown, and they chose to make it like a biophilic type of office. And so when, employees came back after the lockdown, they were stunned. They were amazed by, the general, biophilic design of the new office, and as well as, the moss art as well itself, that they could touch. And the feedback was that everybody during the, their break was like, oh my God, this place is amazing, and touching everywhere. And they were very happy indeed. So that was a really nice experience as well. And then private customers as well. There was a lady that decided to put a moss art in front of her wall while she was working, and she said that even in the middle of conference call, when you feel the most stressed sometimes, just looking at the art gave her a feeling of calm and soothing, and disconnected from the craziness of the corporate world. Yeah, and then I just wanted to go through, some of the work I made, just to show the different materials and how I mix them sometimes. So this was a commission. It's called Hope, and it's made entirely by reindeer moss. And it has actually won 2 awards in the US as a finalist awards. It's in a residential environment now, in a private home, and has been really, really well perceived. This is the woodland sanctuary, so it's more wild. He has different types of mosses, ferns, plants, elements, natural elements as well, branches, sometimes mushrooms, and it's really, it's really popular as well. This is a more like modern, and it was commissioned. It was commissioned by a private client as well, and it comes in 2 frames. And here I mixed different types of mosses. So there is reindeer moss, flat rock moss, which has very little like ferns, and another type of Provence moss. So that was really nice as well, and it gives more, a sense of modern type of art. And this was the first work where I used amaranth. So this is not moss. It's actually a plant. I don't know if you're familiar with amaranth. It's a plant with very tiny filaments, and it comes in different colors as well. So this is a 60 by 60 centimeters frame, and it was really a work of love to glue every single piece. So obviously, when you see it from close up, it gives you, a totally different feeling. But you can imagine, the work behind. And this other one is a mix of reindeer moss and amaranth. Because the amaranth itself comes in a variety of colors, so allows you to use different shades. Because, the beauty of it is that, the plants are really like the brushes for a painting. So you don't have all the colors available. You need to choose the colors that you have. So it's it's a challenge sometimes if you want to represent something, but it's always nice to craft and to have this type of materials in your hands. And these are my contacts. So I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn or Instagram, or, if you have any question, even after the call that comes up to your mind, this is my email, and feel free to ask or contact me. I'll be happy to do that.
Well, thanks so much, Paola. Very fascinating, and I'm sure there are questions. So you can put your questions in the chat, or also ask to speak. We have a few minutes, absolutely. I have a number of questions. So like something really very practical. Like for instance, is it maintenance? Is maintenance like difficult? So what you have to do, like, does the moss grow? Meaning that you have to cut it every now and then, or?
Yeah, no, actually, no, because the moss is not alive. It's not alive anymore.
Okay.
So you don't need to do anything. It just stays there, and that's it.
It's like a mineral.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even attract much dust, to be honest. Maybe after a few years, if you see some dust, you can just pass the, the hair dryer with the cool air, just to make the dust go away. But other than that, you don't need to do absolutely anything.
Yeah, no, okay, interesting. So I noticed a clock. Is there also a watch version? I'm joking.
Yeah,
there is. Okay, I'm searching for it. I'm very interested. Any questions from the audience? I'm sure there are many. Please open your mic, and
sure.
If you have questions, I'm sure there are questions, and there is a lot of interest on this. If you have questions, please let us know.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of that, them being alive versus not being alive, is there a way that you could grow this art, or have it be sort of that interaction with whoever has it living on their wall, that they can see it come alive?
Yeah, that would be great. But no, unfortunately, not being alive, it cannot be resuscitated. So no, it doesn't grow. The only way to do that is just putting live plants, but now with preserved, it's just, gone.
Yeah,
okay,
it's gone. It's gone because basically you said that you substitute the sap with another liquid. Yeah. So, and basically the moss is over. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's absolutely interesting. Is there like a seasonal variance, let's say, between mosses? So there are like some mosses that are available some seasons and some other no. Or you can like find all of these mosses every day.
I buy them from, factories that are specializing in preserving moss. So they usually have it all year round, because they don't just harvest it and make it available. They harvest it in big amounts. So they usually have it available all year. Yes.
Okay. And how new is this technique? So is this something really that's pop up like in the latest years, or is something old? So I'm totally ignorant on this.
No, it's actually quite, recent, because even when I started, I looked online to see if there were courses where I could learn, and I didn't find anything. I couldn't find any. I just saw the work already done. And so I just tried it myself, self-taught.
But
Yeah.
are you also providing courses? So let's say that, for instance, I would like to become a moss artist like you. No, it's not the case, but it could happen. Like, are you providing like training or workshops?
Not at the moment. I'm not. It's a question just of time that I didn't have really time to develop anything else at the moment. I'm starting to do the small tutorials. I have a small blog as well. So I started to make, some tutorials for complete beginners if they want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be interested, because it's so fascinating. And please.
Yeah, it's me, it's Odile. Hi, Paola. I think
hi.
Connected on Instagram, or we spoke before, but I wanted to ask this, but can you dye the moss? Because they're so green. So I'm wondering if you want to do an art installation or things to that extent. Is there any possibility? I'm just wondering if green is the main color, or can you play with natural dyes?
So yes, the answer is yes. You can dye the reindeer moss. It's dyed, and also the amaranth as well. It comes in different colors, like blue, yellow, fuchsia, black, cream, like light blue. So this type of color, red, orange. So yes, I don't do it. I buy, if I want like a blue moss, I buy it already blue dyed from the factories, rather than buying it, like cream and then doing it myself, because I never done it. I don't want to ruin it. So it's always better to buy it in another color. But yes, so it's possible. It's just I don't do it myself. They do it when they preserve it. They preserve it with the food coloring.
Yeah, food coloring. So when you speak factories, what is it? Do they grow the moss themselves, the different types of moss?
Yeah, as far as I know, they don't grow the moss themselves. They harvest it in areas in Finland, mainly in areas dedicated to, harvesting moss for the commercial purposes, so they don't disrupt the food of the reindeers. Yeah. So that's why they do it, sustainably, because otherwise, of course, they would take the food for the animals, so yeah. So they do it that way.
As far as you know, I doubt there is, but are there any regulations for growing and harvesting moss?
Honestly, I don't know if there are particular. Maybe there are in Finland itself. There must be some regulation about that, that protect the areas for the animals.
Okay. So now there is a, sorry, my last question, I swear I will stop. So now we have quite a few art expositions coming up in moss arts, both in the United States and in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, and I would say if you have, sorry, I would say if you have any information about regulations, please let us know. Sorry, Paola, I didn't want to interrupt you. You were
No, that's fine. No, yeah.
Is building on Odil's question, is there a market for these works, like a traditional art market, or?
So I think it's quite new to the art market. Honestly, I submitted some work for art competitions and they accepted it. I didn't even know if they did.
That's a good
I
sign.
asked. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were very happy. They were like, yes, it's the first time we get moss art and we love it. And it's like it falls under the mixed media type of art. So I guess it's not yet that popular in terms of, art competitions or, exhibitions. But I received, quite a few invitations for art exhibitions that I haven't accepted yet. But apparently, there is a market because, our curator were very, fond of knowing more and, organizing some exhibitions.
Yeah, so imagine like a museum only for Mozart, probably in the future,
Yeah.
in the center of Dublin.
My dream.
It could be a way. Okay, thanks again so much, Paola. You
No
share
problem.
your probably if you want to share your contacts in the chat, would be fine,
Sure.
so that people, if they're interested, can reach out to you. Let me spend a few minutes and slides before concluding with some information. Well, as you know, the Verwondering project that won the European category of the Stephen Keller Biophilic Design Award also won the global award together with another really beautiful building, a fire station in city of Marion in Iowa in the United States. So these two winners, the equals winner, let's say, are the winner of this year global competition. So we are really pretty excited about this project and the work that Orga architect and basically was our first presenter did with this school in the north east of the Netherlands. Again, a few pictures. So this is really a nice building, something that we would really like to visit sooner or later. We should think about organizing a visit tour to this building. Again, thanks so much for being part of the Biophilic Society. We created this, we published this manifesto online. Feel free to spread the news and spread the word and share this possibility with your friends and contacts. So you can send the manifesto online, the manifesto of the Biophilic Society, and become member of Biophilic Society. We are now more than 100 signatories, but we can do much better. But it looks like this number is growing constantly from 27 countries. I recall you always the opportunity to write articles for the Journal of Biophilic Design. We can help you in sharing your articles with the editor, with Vanessa Champion and the journal. So it's also a great opportunity. Each time there is each journal there is a different topic. And again, please let us know. Happy to put you in direct contact with the editor. Absolutely, don't forget the first Biophilia Summit online and everywhere on the 7th of June from mid of the morning until late afternoon. Let's say from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Europe time. And you can also get a discount because you are a member of the Biophilic Society. When you go in the registration page, select what type of fee you are using, you're paying for, and then apply this coupon code that you see in the slide, and then you will receive also the discount. Yeah, so the summit will be really a great opportunity to connect with a lot of speakers from different perspectives, different angles, different sectors. We will address biophilia together with agriculture, with fashion, with architecture. Clearly, there will be a consistent part on biophilic design, healthcare, a session dedicated to lighting, which is so important, talk on neuroscience, conversation about photography, a session on psychology. Many of these contributions are coming from the research world. And there will be also an artificial intelligence session, meaning that so Martin basically asked ChatGPT, can you please provide like an abstract, a title, and the content for organizing like a session on artificial intelligence and biophilia? And she replied, she replied. And so we will learn from these results at the summit. We are pretty excited also about this session. Also, the pre-registrations for the next biophilia camp are open. We are working to organize and also working on finding the right location but the dates are already defined. So the third week of September in the woods of South Tyrol, somewhere. We will let you know very soon. We'll come to you with the program, with the full program and the registration page and so forth and so on. But let's say this pre-registration list is something that we're also using to contact the person that's pre-registered, say, first. So it's a sort of priority list if you're interested to take part. And you will find more information on our events page. And this is, as usual, your call to action. Again, sign the manifesto, so this virtual agreement as a member of the Biophilic Society online on our website. If you haven't done it yet, share your commitment with your friends, contacts in your network, and so forth and so on. And we are all working to strengthen this network, or as we prefer to call it, a living system of like-minded people, really passionate about biophilia. And we do really believe that we can create a new, different paradigm. And it's also important to create more momentum around biophilia, let's say, in general. To do this, we created a sort of member slide that you can adapt with your contacts and share on social media. After the call, we will send you an email with this PowerPoint template and with really some basic information on how to adapt this slide and create an image that you can share on the social media. And that's more or less very much all from our end today. As you know, 45 is the new 60. So if you don't have any other urgent requests or questions, we will invite you to the next meeting of the Biophilic Society on the 26th of June, the same hour. And that's all for now. And thank you very much for your participation. Are there any urgent questions before closing? If not, thanks again for being with us today, and huge thanks to Paola for this fascinating presentation, and the work you are doing is pretty amazing, totally. And we are looking forward to your next works. Keep us updated. And it's a lovely work, lovely initiative that we are running. Have a great remainder of the day and of the week, and see you soon. Cheers.
Bye.